back, y'all. Welcome back. First of all, it's the first official episode of 2022. Can we just give a little whoop whoop that you made it to a brand new year? Still running through this podcast thing. Can we just say one time that we over here making it? So look, today we're gonna start off the year. This episode is actually going to be it's going to be like a little trainer confessions. Okay, a little Usher tease going on, but no pills involved. Everything's going to be like, us just coming and just talking about things that we give advice about that we may not follow to the T. This is just a time for us to just, for y'all to kind of get to know us a little bit more and for us to kind of reach this ability to really be fully transparent about how this goes in a real wellness lifestyle, really trying to be healthy and stay healthy and how like things kind of get a little real out here. So, of course, as always, if you guys do not already know, we are your fitness coaches. I am Joy Monique over here out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we have King over here, Deion Avril out here in Florida coming through. So let's go ahead and roll into this, Deion. Where do we want to start with these confessions?
All right. Okay, I'll throw the most obvious one.
Be real.
I tell everybody and their mama to go get some rest, and I don't do that. I really don't.
Why is that on my list? I don't like yo. I literally put on here, take a break. I be lying to y'all and myself. Like, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, that's real life. Like, even just taking breaks from like working out or just working period. Like, it's almost like working out every day of the week, if not 5 to 6 days out of the week or whatever like that. So it's like, I should take some more rest days, but we really don't. And then when it comes to working, I'm better at taking like work breaks. That's the thing. Is like my mind literally just times out. So that's like a little bit like everything kind of just tells me to relax. But I know Deion has been doing a lot better when it comes to taking his breaks, friend.
Well, I tried. Let me go ahead and just give a personal round of applause. Y'all know I don't do that much, so let me go ahead and just do that one time. Now, like it, and like you said, it's it's really important in the sense of like practicing what you preach. But the one thing that, at least for myself, that I got caught up in was there's so much shit to do. Right. But just really finding the time to breathe. Right. And because I'll be straight up with y'all. Like, I deal with anxiety. A lot of us do. We don't know what it's called or how it really rolls into our life on a daily basis. But imagine, us running the company together. But on top of running the company, we still have to do our personal stuff. Set aside from that, we still have like actual family life and all this other things. So there's so many different compartments that I think we kind of forget about. And what happened, especially over the last couple of months, like pushing, grinding, knowing that I can do it. But I was getting weaker over time, like physically weaker, which I know my body was like, hey, we need to just take this L, bro. Like, you've been doing a lot, but take a L, sit down, don't do anything.
It's and like, that's really like taking an L. It's like taking AR, like taking a rest.
Yeah, take a rest. Take a rest. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it got to a point to where when I actually did, I'm like, damn, I forgot how good this feels. You get what I mean? And like getting back into even something like, I'll tell some of the clients to like, hey, meditate. I haven't been doing that because I've been on go, trying to get this done, trying to get that done, and have not made the time for myself. So, once I'm done training all of my clients in the early AM, I drive an hour home. That is my time to take 30 minutes to not do absolutely anything. My phones are on silent. Do not call 911 if somebody hurt. And we will continue everything afterwards. And I think that was one of the things that played a big role into my sanity and balance. You know what I mean? Like, this year's is a whole new thing going on. Like, we're partnering with a lot more people, which means that there's a lot more moving parts.
Right. Yeah.
But we just have to know how to create that balance all throughout. You know what I mean? So I think that the biggest thing is the rest, like physical rest, like restful sleep. But also just really knowing how to manage everything that we have and just realize that, you can't be a superwoman, you can't be a superman every day. You have to either delegate things or we have to take it chunks at a time. And like you said as well, too, we spoke about this, just going with the flow. And I've been noticing it's like, although I feel like I didn't do nothing, but this is the time that I need. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want it to feel like I'm forcing myself to do something, you know?
And I'm so glad you mentioned that whole piece about starting to get back into your like meditation practices. That's been like one thing for me that I'm really trying to like set serious time for. If I set time for anything else in my schedule, it has to be to make sure my mind is right first thing in the morning. So it's like literally not even looking at the phone, not turning on the TV, not even a light. I don't even want no light to come into the room at this point. Like literally just me and my Bible app and a notebook or a journal with a pen and just getting like my thoughts out, getting all my affirmations out, getting the peace and everything centered before I actually go into everything. And then one big thing that I started to do is like actually give myself cut off times for working. And this is a very new thing, y'all. It's been like a week. So it's a very new thing. Because before it was like, it's like you want to go into a completion. It's like I want to keep going at this task or at this thing until I'm like fully done or fully whatever. And it's like, no.
You're good. You know what's going on over here. I'm karate chopping. My bad, y'all. Listen, there's a whole mosquito up in here, and I'm trying not to get bit. If y'all know what time it is in Florida,
all you had to do is keep it together for 30 minutes. That's all you had to do.
That's not happening. Like if we do the wrong cut and unfiltered, no, I don't want to be here like this on camera.
Where did y'all? Please come get y'all coach. Please, please come get him.
Okay, I'm gonna just be down here while you talk.
So, like I was saying, so yeah, like really giving myself a cutoff time. Like right now, studying to get certified, everything going on with me and Deion and the business part, like you said, personal life, real life clients, everything. Like it's just like, okay. By 7-8 o'clock, like especially like on Fridays is like really like, okay, you really just like the weekends and Fridays, I'm still doing work 7 days a week. It kind of just comes to territory because I work during the week. But weekends, especially when 6-7 o'clock roll around, the hard stop. We're not going into Saturday night, still answering somebody's emails, scheduling whatever, programming nobody. We are just cutting everything off. During the week, 10 o'clock, 11 at the very latest, hard stop. And it's a real adjustment. Like any other like A-type personalities, and my other Capricorns out there, y'all understand. We really just be wanting to like go. And having that like that mental time to just like, okay, look, at this point, you need these last couple of hours just for yourself. Hard stop. If it's really that important, you would start this thing earlier. So you're going to just keep it real cute for tonight. And then whatever is left, we're going to just put over until tomorrow. Not to have everything just keep rolling over, but like, still plan to get like enough of your stuff done, but still leave space for just nothing. Just you, your people, TV, whatever, and just nothing. So definitely on the same page with that one. One thing that I'll be lying to myself about that I tell y'all to do is work on y'all flexibility. Let me tell you. Let me tell you
something. I'm not talking to nobody about flexibility because.
But we really do need to incorporate all of that. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm not just saying that just to say it, but I have to get better. I'm very much a gym rat when it comes to like strength training. So I like lifting weights. I like lifting heavy. It's hard for somebody like me to just stop and do a nice little pose and just relax it all. Like it's so but like I said, we're making progress. So I'm literally scheduling in my next 6 weeks program. It's going to be a day like in between my like actual strength training sessions to work on my mobility and flexibility. I'm actually going to program that in. That way I know I do it because I don't want to keep saying to y'all, work on being flexible. And here I am, legs just stiff. So we got to practice, we got to do what's right to make sure that everything is making sense. Lining up. But what's for you, Deion? What's the next line you tell yourself?
I mean, I'm on the same page. Just to give you a heads up, I see you're lagging a little bit. So just in case y'all, we've been trying to troubleshoot what's going on right now for like a whole hour. So just bear with us just in case we freeze every blue moon. But I'm gonna be with you on that one, like the whole stretching aspect. Like I used to be really flexible, like and people used to be like, "Yo, big ass, come on." I'm like, but you move like a ballerina. I'm like, well, it's like it was an everyday thing. So when I was doing classes where I used to work, every day I was bound to stretch people out for 30 minutes, like a class of 8 to 10. So it became second nature. It wasn't something I had to question. When the whole vid had happened, that's when things changed because, you get more relaxed. I'm good. Like I still got my mobility. Joy, when I tell you, and I'm telling the whole family right now, I'm transitioning kind of similar to what you're doing. I'm taking my whole like next 12 weeks right now and programming it all at home with what we have in the house. And I put that barbell on my back, knowing I have no business doing back squats. I should have done front squats. Well, let me just do back squats. Let me see how I look. Let me just record myself for the giggles. When I tell you, I have almost no range for the squat because my low, like I'm rounding. I'm like, damn, I ain't got no range of motion. Hamstrings tight, hips tight, because I'm always doing leg press because I know because of my shoulder, I can't place a lot of weight. But it's crazy to see how changing certain movements and your like the functionality and how your body completely changes as far as like, hey, your range of motion is not this anymore because you've been doing it, upside down, pushing the opposite way. You get what I mean? So it was like completely different. I felt like a kid on training wheels. I'm just like, shit, I got to get back into stretching, man, because this ain't it, or getting to a point to where I'm literally pulling my hamstrings almost once a week. And it's the most annoying thing because I like working on hamstrings, but apparently I'm not doing the work around it to make sure that I'm actually recovering properly. So to kind of, tie in and piggyback off of you, stretching. Another thing, I would say knowing when to like the auto regulation, like knowing, and I've been getting better at it, but I think that was one of the things for sure that for myself, a lot of people, we go by the indication of soreness or what we call the pump. When you like veins are super tight or whatever, you're in the gym, it's like you don't always have to go for that. But to kind of tie it in, like sometimes I like feeling sore because it does make me feel like I did something.
It does, doesn't it, though? It's like, it's like coming like out of a high. It's like, oh, your body just feel tired. You feel like you really like put that work in, even though you don't need that to actually like get progress. But it's like a way to kind of confirm that you put in work at the gym. It's like, some kind of like reassurance or whatever. I'm not sure what that is that we look for, but
right. I think it's more of the reassurance, but the flip side of it is like, okay, well, this can actually impede your progress when you go back to work it out later on throughout the week. You got that. But at the same time, it's like if you consistently go for that type of feel, like at some point you might potentially injure yourself. You get what I'm saying? So it's not all the time that I do it, but it is that like, damn, okay, cool. My client's coming in like 15 minutes. I want to get a fire pump. I just want to feel I don't want to feel my arms anymore just because, and just knowing like, hey, there's a time and place for all that. You know what I mean? But I mean, that would be the other one, but I can't really say eating is not really a bad thing for me. I would say it's more of tracking my food. And the tracking the food is, I guess, right. I'm not even we're gonna let that be. But the eating for me is more of like, I don't want to say I'm fully plant-based. I have been dabbling like pescatarian, getting a little mussels and a little bit of salmon, stuff like that. Because it depends on the circumstance. But all I'm saying is that when you're in a transition, especially for anybody that's come from a background of whether it's drinking or excessively eating and things of that nature, you don't just cut everything cold turkey. So even with the whole transition through plant-based, there's literally certain things you just can't cut off cold turkey. As much as I try to move away from it, my ass got my waffles back. I got my eggs back. But it's only because of the fact that I didn't want to drink shakes all day. And also the amount of like the content that I have to eat like for carbs is crazy, super low for each meal. Meanwhile, everything plant-based is carbs. You get what I'm saying? So it's been like this rough battle of like, hey, stay under your carbs, but it's like I can have.
I can't really because I have to eat something. So it's like, yeah.
Right. So it's just like that was my main takeaway now is just like, okay, well, how can I have a healthy, like a well-balanced meal plan or nutrition lifestyle without constantly drinking shakes? Because it's like, I'm over this. I want food. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this is an easy 35 grams, whatever. But it's like, it gets to a point to where I could see where a lot of our clients get frustrated and like, yo, I can't do this no more. I'm done.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So going through that same thing, it makes it a lot more like relatable, and that the empathy aspect of like, okay, I know how you feel. I see where you're coming from. It's not an easy journey, but I think that's one of the things that I'm still dealing with. So that's my confession. Like, the eating isn't perfect. Am I eating what I need to? Absolutely. But the eating is not perfect. Don't think that for 1 minute, just because I'm throwing all these recipes or you throwing recipes and showing things, that I don't go get my Thai food. And I don't even log that bad boy. I just eat it. You get what I'm saying?
That's my guilt-free. Okay.
Right.
That's none of my tracking apps business. But that you mentioned tracking. Okay, let me tell y'all something. So when me and Deion first met, like, he was my coach. So he had me, mind you, I've never before tracked food, never had the interest. I like my food to be fun. I like to enjoy my food. I don't like to turn food into math or all that, math. No. So he had me, going down on the app, tracking 2 weeks. That turned into like 2 months, neither here or there. But when I tell you, and he knows, struggling. I'm struggling to track my food. It never occurred to me to weigh things out, to pay that much like attention to the ingredients that and like the quantities of things that I put in. Like, like you still eat good, but you don't think about like literally measuring things out. Like I said, my food has to be easy, has to be fun, has to be enjoyable. So I understand, like, just like tell my clients now, like, hey, track. I literally just want you to track for 2 weeks. Let me get a good idea of where you're at, what kind of food you're eating, and what times you eat. And of course, I kind of want these do for the first phase of the program, the first 6 weeks. I kind of want to see where things are, with that. But for anybody who's thinking that you have to track long term forever, absolutely not. I'm done tracking. Lady, I am done tracking. I've done it. I've gotten what I need to get from it. It does put for you into a perspective of how you eat. Like the one little small thing that you thought wasn't doing anything for your diet, and you see how many calories is in it, how much carbs is into it, how little protein, how fat, whatever like that. Like when you are able to really break down what you're eating, that way you better understand what food pairings go together. Like that is the most beneficial part of it that I cannot take away from it. So I say, like, at least give it a try for at least a good 4 to 6 weeks. That we can kind of get that good, knowledge base in. But if you don't want to do it for 5 years, nobody's gonna hold you. The whole thing is like, I'm not gonna hold you against that. Definitely not. So that's definitely like I felt as soon as he said tracking, I was like, oh yeah, that's me right there. That is me. That yes.
So what I will say, and I love the fact that you bring this up, because it's like we said, we're really big on transparency. So for a lot of the clients that I work with, they're not trying to be on some athletic, like collegiate or doing any sports or whatever of that nature. So a lot of, my whole ideology of having somebody track for a week is, like we said, the analogy of going to a doctor and telling the doctor you got a cough or whatever it is, and they just prescribe you something. Or actually, let me rephrase. You come in and they already give you something. It's like, how do you know what I need? I haven't told you what I need.
I swear I posted that on Instagram. Something like very similar to that. It was like, if you go to your doctor and you tell them that you have one thing and they don't even ask you about your lifestyle, your eating, your habits, your sleep, your stressors, like they don't ask you about your lifestyle at all, and just like, here, prescription written out, go pharmacy, go fill it out. It's like you just got a pusher. Like you just that's literally all it's
that pusher man.
Yes, I tell you, like literally, that's literally what that is.
And that's what I mean. Like, so even for me, like, I'll be straightforward. I personally liked tracking, and as you could hear, it's past tense, but the type of tracking that I do is different now. So at first, a lot of it was putting the meal plan together and figuring out the numbers. That I just love seeing the numbers and the combinations. That's just a thing for me. Like, I just love it. So it never really was a big issue to me. But it started to become an issue when the whole transition started, because now we're not eating the same stuff. So this is when you do have to kind of regroup and regather and say, okay, like you mentioned, the most important part that I would love for every client, and that's what we go for every single time, exactly what you said, is just having a better perspective of the quantity of food that you're eating. Because when I tell you right now, I'm using what's called the RP Diet app. We're doing a whole little, 90-day transformation. But what I realize is, as I'm weighing things out, I'm like, damn. So it's just 4 ounces, this much. That's all. That's it. I'm like, damn. Like, I feel like I'm eating like a bird. But then it puts it in perspective. Being from cultured backgrounds, we don't measure. You know what I'm saying? So
it's all
that's a whole different. Don't come to our grandmothers talking about some measuring Nathan. That's not happening. But the thing with that is the fact of it really shows you collectively as people, we just overeat. That's really what it is. So just being able to show somebody like, hey, this is the actual portion size. So now moving forward, you know what to expect or how to put your plate together. And now, like you had mentioned, you can, like, for people that are really dialed in, that's where I think the tracking really makes sense. And even for people who aren't, I still have them do, those basic necessities, because what they start to notice is, oh, damn, my weight's going down. What have I been adjusting to help my weight go down? Mm-hmm. So, okay, yeah, we can move more. We can do this. We can do that. We can drop your calories. So my thing that I always tell people is, nowadays, you can still eat more, but literally move more. So it's literally calories or energy in, energy out. So as long as you're in a deficit and you're constantly moving, you have a better chance of being in a caloric deficit based on how much you're eating, obviously. So, it's good to hear from you that, I mean, in all reality, it's like we said, it's not something that you want to do forever. You know what I mean? Like, even now as I'm tracking, I'm like, damn, I really don't feel like tracking. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Excuse me, but it's more of a discipline aspect as well, too. So that's the other, state of mind. It's like, showing people that the consistency and throwing it in. Now, here's the crazy part, right? Not even crazy, but you got to get savvy with it when you're in some of these apps. So Chronometer, MyFitnessPal, all these different ones, they give you an option to copy your meal to the next day. So right now, the RP Diet app, it'll ask me things like everything, like how's your day moving, whatever. And then from there, based on what I eat this week, it'll give me the option to copy everything to the next week. I don't have to think about anything. Look at how much I need. Boom, boom, boom. It's done.
That one is not bad. I might gotta try that one out, because
when I tell you, it's literally, it shows you all your stats, your progress, how you're doing, how's your weight fluctuating, everything.
I don't know, y'all. I might go back to tracking for a little while to kind of try out this one and kind of see it. And I'm gonna let y'all know how that goes.
By the way, we are not sponsored by RP at all. That would be nice, Dr.
RP,
Mike,
like I said,
Nick Shaw, all of y'all.
My Fitness Pal, if you ever need
anybody, Chronometer,
exposure.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's, again, not to like dive in too deep on it. But like I said, it's just more of the perspective, like having people come from an angle who never measured anything. I get that. So it's like a little bit overwhelming, but that's also why they have things like, hey, palm's worth, just giving them smaller, 2 thumbs worth for fats, whatever of that nature, to just kind of give them the basics. Because like we said, you don't have to. And that's the thing that I always ask people up front. Is it going to be a problem with you tracking for the next week? No, I should be fine. I'm like, okay, cool. So moving forward, this is what we're going to do, correct? So I always like to reassure and reconfirm. Yes. So in the event that they, pull back, like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. There's pictures you can send to us. We're going to also send you a guide of how to measure with your hands. You get what I'm saying? And knowing how to portion your actual meal. Well, not your meal, but your plate. So there's so many different avenues that you can use. So that's why we don't ever want somebody to think that, tracking is a bad thing. It could be overwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you, but you have to go in this with the mentality of knowing your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Because if this is overwhelming, then let's find another alternative. You know what I mean? That you can kind of work with, which is usually measurements and pictures for most people and weigh-ins. So there's like literally 6 different avenues to do the same thing, you know? Exactly. What else you got? What else you got? Come on. Drop some on. What's up?
Oh, so right after the holidays, the whole no alcohol to lose weight. Let me tell you. Now, mind you, I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink that often. But, you know, when certain like little occasions come, you want to go out, you want to do whatever, holidays come around, birthdays, whatever like that. I'm not getting a skinny nothing. Virgin anything. It's going to be like 1 full glass of wine, 1 whatever like that, because it's all about, like I said, like kind of like how we always say, it's about the balance of things. It's like you don't want to get to a point you feel like you have to not enjoy life at all. Now, we're not saying like, you know, every single night have a glass of whatever. If every Friday night you want to just come back, glass of wine, you know, cool off because it's been a long week, by all means, take that time for your self-care. Have that time cut off, like how we said earlier in this episode. What, Deion?
And it's okay to have 2 glasses on Friday. That's all I was going to say.
Oh, look. Okay. Okay. So that's like one thing for me. It's like, because I see a lot, like people be like, oh, you know, no alcohol, no sugars, no, like, no, not in excess at all. But if you don't want you to, because that will hinder your progress. Like that's just the honest, like truth, you know, behind it. But to say like you can never have a glass of wine again, a glass of a bourbon or whatever like that, at least for the next couple of months, like cut off cold turkey, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's like everything is literally in moderation. The same way how tracking your food before is like, you know, it helps you to learn about your portion sizes. Same thing when it comes to your liquids as well. Knowing about how to portion those out, about how to spread those out, about how to just make it to where it's not a habit. It's like something that you really like enjoy on occasion. That kind of makes more sense. So that's kind of been one thing. Is like I don't think I've ever told anybody to not drink alcohol, but I do see that advice be like, you know, being given a lot about just completely cutting it off cold turkey. Right. I've honestly, in my last year or so, in my own weight loss journey, have never cut off alcohol cold turkey. Never have, y'all. And still lost the weight, still got healthy. Everything was literally just spread out in moderation. And when I really wanted it, that's when I went out and got it. Not just because I like literally, you could still be out and about with some friends and still not be in the mood to drink. It's like really whenever I felt the little desire to have like a little extra or whatever, that's how that kind of rolled out. That's my little one right there. So I'm not sure if you can relate to that one. So if not, what's your next one, Deion?
Yeah, so that it does have to do with that. So I'll kind of finish up what you were saying, like kind of add on to that. I'm the same way. Like I never really told anybody to stop drinking alcohol. I let that be something that they decide to do on their own, but to also ask them certain questions to see why exactly do they feel like they need to do that. So to give you a perfect example, somebody had, we had a conversation and somebody came to me and was like, hey, listen, I'm in a situation where, yes, I like to drink, but also the people around me don't really make it any better. They're not blaming anybody around them. They're just giving me the scenario. So they go out and, knowing that this person's trying to do better with drinking, those people around them still offer. So this is that peer pressure that we're talking about. Yeah. But it also comes down to you having that conversation with said friends, associates, whatever you want to consider them, and making sure that they know that this is something that you're taking serious. So in the event that Joy decides that, hey, I want a second drink, it is my, it's my responsibility as your friend to be like, no, you're not getting another drink. I don't care if you fight me out. I don't care. That's what you told me.
Honestly, y'all, if they don't have that kind of reaction, that's the time to reevaluate. Whole different conversation, but that's time to reevaluate because nobody around you should be trying to hinder you from trying to make progress in what you said you wanted to do. If you wanted to stop drinking alcohol, if I see you with that cup, I'm looking at you crazy real quick. Right. No, give me that back. Put that down. No.
I'll dump it and give you the money back. Like, it's that serious. Like, if you're my friend and that's anybody around me, if you tell me to hold your accountable for something.
Hold on. Say it again for me because your mic had muted. Say that again one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, I was saying, I was like, that's how I feel about people around me. If we're in our close circle, if you tell me to hold you responsible and accountable, I'm going to do that. That's what we're here for, especially, being coach driven. Like, this is what we do. So to segue into the other thing, I actually have 2 clients that we're in a group chat right now. And, that's a little familiar, like us three, the little 3 amigos, just, checking in on each other, making sure everything is good. But, one of my clients was like, hey, I fucked up. I was like, what do you mean? I had something I wasn't supposed to. And, our other client was just like, okay, like, get over it. You enjoyed it. Now let's keep moving on. And I think that's one of the things as well, too. Like, people get into that whole state of mind of you have to punish yourself and not listen to your body, where I'm not saying to indulge in all cravings, but if you have a little bit of time, and I know, ladies, especially during your cycle, that, things do fluctuate. You might want more sweets. You might want this, and it depends on the woman. So me knowing that, it's like, okay, well, if it's definitely that time, or you have, like, you've been doing like solid for the last whatever amount of months, and you really haven't had I don't want to say a cheat day, but you haven't really, done anything out of the ordinary or crazy, it's not going to hurt to have 5 Sour Patch Kids. You get what I'm saying? Like, you get what I mean? Like, yeah, you might get a little sugar bump, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. But I mean, if that's what it takes to satisfy you, like, I guess mentally, like neurologically, however it works for you, like in your head, then cool, then do it. Just don't sit here and put yourself in this box that you have to feel like you're punishing yourself, And I used to kind of almost relate to that to an extent, where it's like, no, chicken and rice, bodybuilder, broccoli. Nah, bro, that's not how it works. Like, you tend to learn that a lot of what we do, it's not if it fits your macros. It's more of, I call it more of like flexible nutrition. So still having some of the things that you like, but also making sure that you prioritize clean and quality food. That should be your priority. Absolutely. So I think that was another thing that kind of caught my eye, because it happened today. I was like, wow. I was like, as a coach, to hear my client say that to another client, I was like, wow, you took all the weight off of me to help
them. Like, really, like, they're able to hold their friend accountable. That shows their own personal growth as well, as far as like being able to really receive whatever you've been like saying to them. So that's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely
right. So I think that would probably be one of the other things. As I'm brainstorming, let me know if you have any other more, because I really, like, those were the main ones. Like,
that's really the main ones. Like,
I got one. Hold on.
Okay.
Listen, not giving credit when credit is due, right? So we work with people day in and day out. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not really good at taking the best of compliments all the time. Like, it's not that it makes me feel awkward. It's like that shy, like Keanu Reeves, like, oh, come on, get out of here. Like, it ain't that big deal. Like, whatever.
No, for real.
But when I had, one of my clients, she met up with one of her old friends today, and she introduced me to him. She's like, yo, you're doing a great job. I'm like, or be like, yo, I couldn't have done this without him. I'm like, but it's teamwork. Like, we wouldn't have done this without each other. But it kind of translates into when I'm doing my own, like, thing in the gym or whatever, I don't really pay attention to my body. I'm here to do what I need to do, but I can feel what I need to feel. I don't necessarily need to look at what everybody else looks at, which is why I tend to wear, like, right now for the next 3 months, is going to be all long sleeve, all hoodie, to keep myself humble. But I've also noticed that I don't give myself the credit when credit is due. So when I'm looking at myself,
somebody's trying to keep yourself humble by being close.
But that's what it is. It's like, that's my form of trying to keep myself humble. And I don't ever think I'll ever be a person that's big-headed. But, I mean, every once in a while you might cut the corner. I'm like, damn, so okay, all right. But it's not like so I will definitely say that I don't give myself enough credit, but I'm always the person that's like telling somebody, oh my God, you look great. Like, you look amazing, showing people their before and afters, and everyone's like, yo, you look good too. I'm like, it could be better. You know what I mean? So
that's 100% real, because he does that with me as well. Mm-hmm. Like, he'll all the time, like, like, I really appreciate you, valuable. You do so much for the business, for the brand, whatever like that. I'm like, Deion, you're over here holding a lot of weight, over here doing a lot. See how look at him getting nervous now. Look at him getting going to his little turtle shell right now. I see it. Like, literally, But I definitely, I'm similar in that way as well. So I definitely understand it. But it's like you really have to just give yourself credit. Like it's literally like training yourself to let yourself just receive it, or what I'm saying, like without feeling like I don't want to be big headed about it. It's like no, you deserve to give yourself props because you're really out here working. You're really out here making progress. Really out here doing like what you said you wanted to do. So it's like you should be the first one cheering you on, honestly and truly. And then
100%.
whoever else wants to acknowledge it, that's beautiful. Don't let it go to your head too much. But it's good to be acknowledged by others. That means that the service that you're doing is being recognized.
100%. And then the last thing I would say to kind of segue into that too is, as you're going through your journey, and this is literally like, this is in real life. I deal with this every day, especially when you start making major changes in your weight and like your body composition. So when I was going through the whole prep last year, one of the things that I had a really hard time dealing with was people coming to me without any context and saying, "Oh my God, you look small. What's going on?" Da, 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 da. Like, "Oh my God, like you don't look like you look like." I'm like, well, if you would take notice, one, I'm on a whole different thing right now. Like I'm literally preparing for a competition. Like there's a whole different set of rules that they're looking, like, you know what I mean? Like guidelines, I should say, that they go by. So it's like to try to explain to people, like, but they're still ignorant in the sense of, yeah, I hear what you, but you still look skinny. I'm like, fuck. Like, do you know how much time it took to really be this disciplined, to get into the gym and do 20, 35 minutes of cardio? You know what I mean? Like just doing all this stuff and waking up at the crack of dawn, 4 a.m. to do what I need to do before I even leave to go train the rest of my clients. I'm up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't really know the story behind why you're doing what you're doing. So, that's one of the things that I give advice on. It's like, hey, take a lot of this for a grain of salt, but it still burns. Like whether you're still an individual that still has emotions and still has feelings. So for me, it's like, I hear it, I'm like, I try to like, nothing. And I go home, like, damn, my muscles getting a little small. What's going on? I check them like, damn, okay, they might be right. So you start questioning yourself, you know what I mean? But knowing that, again, how you're approaching your fitness journey and your lifestyle is completely different from this person. They don't understand what's going on with you because your journey and your path and your why is completely different. You get what I mean? So I feel like that makes a big role. So I'll say right now, that's still something I still deal with. That's a huge confession for me. I think that's like the biggest one that I feel good getting off my chest. Let other people know, like, it's real. It doesn't matter what your coach looks like. I can guarantee you, whether or not they want to tell you and be expressive and be open about it, we go through the same thing you do. Trust me.
Same. Like we were literally people on our own journeys before we started to help everybody else out with theirs.
Right.
So that part never really goes away. It's still the very humanist part, like human gets part of us, or whatever. But that get triggered for me a thought. So I'm gonna say my trainer confession, watching this scale. And this is like at this point, this year, I've really I'm good. But towards the end of last year, I'm going through my program. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to lift more again. Cause I lost my first weight, working out at home. It was mostly cardio based. So they was just, coming off, scale going down. It makes you feel good on the inside or whatever. So going into a program where it's like mostly strength training, now the scale's like tipping back up. And that old mind kind of just clicks back in. It's like, oh, scales, you gaining weight. Oh my God, what's going on? But you're working out, you're eating right, but why the scale's still going up? I'm literally having to as that thought comes in, I'm pushing it back, like, hold up, but look in the mirror. Is looking good. Like you're not looking like you're looking a lot more firm, a lot more lean. You're looking like I'm feeling stronger in the gym. So I was like, literally, the scale at this point shows me like how much muscle I've gained. Literally at this point. It was like literally a battle for the last 2 months of 2021 where I was like, what are we doing? I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm over here strength training. I'm gaining muscle. I'm leaning out. I'm already not I'm not a slim girl as it is already. So it's going to carry how it carries naturally, but it carries well. So So at this point now, I'm like, okay, I'm honestly proud of how my body composition is,
Right.
even at the weight that I am now. So that's kind of like where it goes. Like it's like, and I say this all the time on my page. I know we have several times here as well, like not focusing on the scale. It's literally a real thing. Like you have to really analyze how you feel during your journey and the actual progress that you're making, like feeling yourself being able to lift more weight, to run a little bit longer on a treadmill or do a little more cardio, be able to go a little bit harder and in your sessions. Like those should be more so what you track your progress on than what any number can say on anybody's scale, unless it's one like those real BMI scales, then look at those a little bit more. But these little generic general just give you like the actual gravitational weight of your body. That's not going to tell you everything that you need to know. It shouldn't be weighted as heavy, but that's still thing that every now and then it kind of just that thought kind of creeps back, like what's going on. But
it's funny that you mentioned that, because like with this whole RP thing, it's not their fault. It's the whole competitiveness in my head, as kind of a Capricorn thing too. But going on the scale every day is like, okay, cool, where am I at? Like, cool. And looking at the end of the week, that bitch says, hey, you went up 2.9 pounds. I'm like, how? I'm like, how? I'm like, yeah. How? You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I've ate everything you told me to exactly the way you told me to. What the fuck is going on? But then you thinking, you put things in consideration where, for example, like you mentioned, being a person that has been, I don't want to say conditioned, but programmed is a word that I use from time to time, but you have been brought up on, your weight, like whether it's your lifestyle factor, because a lot of your family plays a big role into it too, as far as your adolescence. So if they've always mentioned like, hey, you look a little chunky, or I'm a little chunk monk, all this stuff still sticks in your head as you continue to become an adult, right? So you always second guess, you question all these different things. But what I realize is that it does take a little bit longer, but I love seeing those transformations when you show somebody at 185 1 year ago and 187 a year later, and it's like,
and it's totally different. Yes,
completely
like
different.
night and day. Yes.
So like you had mentioned, a lot of people don't realize that body recomposition is a real thing, Yes. So even, for example, right now, working with Crystal, she's made a night and day difference. But of course, there's still things that she wants to focus on. It's the same thing with me. It's the same thing with you. So we're never at that point where we're 100% satisfied. We're like, okay, I see a little something going on here. But I think, the main thing is just knowing that the number is literally just a number. So I give you a perfect example. I did the same thing for Danielle. And I was like, listen, I said, you literally gain more weight, but you look better. She's like, I know. I was like, a year ago, this was not a conversation we're talking about. I was literally fighting her to add in more calories. I was fighting her to do, this and that, but she was very consistent. She kept up with everything, and she noticed. She's like, I see exactly what you're talking about, because she did not want to go past 150. I was like, 150. Well, I told her not to go past 150. I'm like, 150 is way too low for your body. Like the way you're shaped, you don't need to go past that. So as she's like sitting around like 155, 150, she's like, I like how I look. I was like, I told you so, but I didn't tell you so. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, to think that number is so etched into your head, like you have to hit a certain number. Really ask yourself, what does that number mean to you? Why is that number so important?
Yes, that's also the point I was going to make as well. It's like, you hold this certain number. It's okay. I know when I get to this one way, that's going to be good. That's going to be it. I've made it. That's, the goal. And it's like, you can reach your body goals without ever reaching your target weight. Those two things are not like synonymous.
I like
that. That's a real big thing, because I know my personal goal was like 165, but based on how my body is like, it's like, being composition right now, literally 170 might be the goal at this point. And that's me like wanting to add 5 more pounds or so back onto it because of just how things configure me naturally. So it literally, like he said, that was like, that really, yes, absolutely resonated.
And like the other thing that I think about, I'm like, okay, well, kind of correlate this as far as, and it's a far off analogy, but say that I could see how somebody's saying like, okay, I need all straight A's because I'm trying to get into an Ivy League, place as far as university, college, or whatever. compared to somebody that just says, I need to hit this weight. Okay, but what benefit does that do for you when you hit that number? You get what I'm saying? Like that number ain't the lotto numbers. So you get what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, once you hit that number, then what? That's the first line that comes out of my mouth with everybody. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, I hear where you're coming from, but when we hit 140, what's next? It's like, yeah, you didn't think about that. It's not me being an asshole, for lack of better words, but it's like, did you think about that though? It's a lot further than that. This is a whole plan. This is a lifestyle. You're not doing this just to get to that one number and it be done, because it's going to be a yo-yo effect where you're going to take the weight off, put it back on.
Absolutely.
This used to be at that weight, take it off, put it out. We're done with cycles. We're done with loops. We said that 2021, leave that there. We're done with that construct. Roll into 2022 with a new mentality and knowing that there's different aspects, like you said, that you can measure. I prefer, like, the way that I'm going to start doing a lot of the programming inside of the sheets is figuring out, and we do that already through check-ins, but figuring out how their stress levels are on a day-to-day basis. Well, obviously they'll check in at the end of the week, but trying to get an ideal of like a snapshot of their week, especially for the clients that we don't see face-to-face.
Yes.
Just to get an idea of what's going on, environmental factors or lifestyle factors, because all of that does play into effect of how their performance will be next week. So that means as coaches, we need to go in and auto-regulate and say, okay, cool. Joy says she's not, right now she's still a little sore from hamstrings. She has hamstrings on Monday. She did them on Thursday. Then we need to auto-regulate and pull things out so that she's able to run through the rest of the week. Or maybe she's feeling a little bit under the weather, so we're not going to do as much. So again, just really finding those different aspects that you put all together to say that, all right, I'm measuring everything else that's really important, like the priorities, and keeping the weight and the number on the scale on the outside, because that should be literally the last thing. The iron is never the last thing that you think about, but for lack of better words.
Absolutely. And so I'm trying to think. I feel like that's my main confessions that I have. Honestly, I feel like I've gotten everything off my chest tonight.
Right. I think this is more for us. I think it was a little selfish tonight.
I think I feel a little bit lighter after this conversation. So I think this was a good one right here.
It was. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Fitness Headspace Podcast. As always, you guys, we truly appreciate you guys coming back each and every day and starting off your new year with us as well. Shout out to y'all who come back and watch this video and hang out with us for the beginning of 2022. Of course, go ahead and give us your comments down below as far as like, what are your little confessions that you have as far as things that you do, that you say you're going to do, may not always do it how you want, or just give us how your fitness journey honestly is for you. Good, bad, indifferent, pros, cons, whatever. Let us know down below in the comment section, and then go ahead and share this video out with 3 of your favorite people. Go ahead and share it out to the girl down at the deli clerk, your UPS worker, and then baby girl down here at the mall bagging up your clothes for you. Go ahead and just let everybody know to come on, check out the podcast, and let's go ahead and get everything rolling for 2022. We have so much amazing things to bring to you guys for this new year.
There we go.
There we go. Oh my gosh.
3 people. That's what we stopped at. That's
3 people.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share it out with 3 people, y'all. And so, like I said, we'll be able to bring you guys so much more for 2022. This is going to be an amazing year, y'all.
Whew.
I don't think I understand, but you will.
They don't get it. They don't get it yet. They don't get it yet.
But you will. Not to hype it up, but it's just, neither here nor there. But yes, so we'll see you guys on next week's episode. Bye, y'all.
Peace.